Gud så fint. Whipmaster B, ja, vad har vi våra svenska åkare? Danne K och Hjortmarker hoppar upp här.
Welcome back to the MXGP of Sweden here. We're at Uddevalla. It's round 15 of 18. My name's Paul Malin, and once again I'll be joined by Jason Thomas for this broadcast here of the World Championship as it nears the end of the season. Just 3 rounds to go after this one. Finland in France and Turkey. And we're all set for the final race here in Sweden. Tim Geiser continues to lead the championship with a healthy margin. But it was Glenn Koldenoff who was victorious here in 2019. We've had 44 winners now, with our winner from MX2, who will be crowned the 45th winner of the Grand Prix here at Uddevalla in Sweden. Well, we are moments away from finding out as the riders, the MXGP riders, make their way back in from their sighting lap here ahead of MXGP Race 2. The racetrack just over 1,600 meters long. It's hard pack, it's slick, and it's starting to develop quite nicely. Good choice of lines, bumps, edges, all that kind of thing. We're not sure if we are due any rain. Some forecasters out there in the paddock will say yes, some will say no. Maybe it holds off because the perfect conditions now on the track should make for some fantastic racing, just as we saw a moment ago in MX2 Race 2. Try not to spoil the outcome of that, but no doubt when Lisa does her pre-grids, we'll hear the national anthem. And you can see everybody in position up there in the skybox ahead of MXGP Race 2. We will take a look at the highlights of Race 1 now, though. If you weren't with us earlier, here's how everything went down. MXGP Race 1, over on the right-hand side, Tim Geiser and Mitch Evans didn't get the best jumps. In fact, it was Valentin Guillot around the outside, but then he lost the front going through the middle of the turn. That allowed Maxime Renault to get the better of him, but 4 Yamahas in the first 4 positions. But pretty quickly, Guillot getting shuffled back by the 3 factory riders, with Seawer in second, Koldenoff in third. Roman Fevre was positioned in about 5th place as Mitch Evans, who won the qualifying race, he spun up, he remounted right at the back, but he would put on a spirited charge to an eventual 10th place. The battle up front was intense between the 2 Yamahas of Maxime Renault and Jeremy Seawer. Seawer tried on several occasions to get the better of the MX2 reigning world champion. Jorge Prado found his way into 5th place with that move on Valentin Guillot on about lap 6 or 7. As Evans got the better of Jeremy Van Hoorbeek. That was about mid-race, and that got him into 13th. Remember, he was 31st on the opening lap. He then made this move on Brian Bogus to move into 12th. He would pick off another couple of positions by the end of the race. Bogus, though, would finish in 15th place after a mistake. Gavin Blandren, who was in 15th position just after the halfway stage, would not finish either. And Ruben Fernandez, back from injury, also had his problems. He would eventually come home in 17th. 2nd, 3rd and 4th in the race, with Geiser there in that 4th place. That trio headed up by Seawer with Koldenoff in the middle. Final lap, though, intense battle between Roman Fevre and Valentin Guillot. Fevre took over 6th position. Guillot said, no, I don't think so. Roman said, actually, don't mind if I do. And that was all it took. Fevre came home 6th, Jonas 7th, Van Donnick 8th, and Guillot 9th. But it was a Yamaha 1-2-3, Monster Energy Yamaha 1-2-3, as Maxime Renault, Jeremy Seawer, and Glenn Koldenoff rounded out the top 3 positions. And by my reckoning, the last time that happened with 3 riders from the same team in the Premier class taking out the top 3 positions was back in June 1992. Here's Lisa with Mitch Evans.
We're almost ready for the final race of the day, MXGP Race 2, but let's speak to Team HRC's Mitch Evans. Mitch, we saw you win the qualifying race, but we did see you go down in the opening lap of that first race, but that's not what I want to talk about. I want to talk about how you literally went from 31st up to 10th. I mean, you had the pace. You were on a hard charge in that first race.
Yeah, for sure. It was disappointing to go down, especially starting last, you know. It's not fun, but yeah, I just put my head down and just charged forward as hard as I can, and I ran out of Terrace with like 10 laps to go. So that was a bummer as well, but no, I feel good. You know, I'm comfortable on the track like I was yesterday, so we'll just, forget about Moto 1 and regroup and get a good start for Moto 2, and yeah, the aim is to win this race.
Oh, to win the race. Fantastic, why not? But like you said, like you're feeling good on the track, and when I spoke to you after qualifying yesterday, you said you've made changes, your brother's here. What has changed for you? Because I have seen a difference. Yeah,
for sure. I mean, like, I was doing almost the same lap times as the front runners in traffic, you know, that moto, so... but yeah, the biggest thing is we're just working out the bike. We have a new frame this year, and I didn't really get to do much testing in the winter because I still had a lot of pain in my wrist, but now I can do as much riding as I want, and yeah, we really just focused on that. And like I said in the press conference yesterday, when I go to the track during the week, we're there to do a job, but we're very serious, but we always have a smile on our face because we're just having a really good time with my brother and I. So it's all those little things, you know, just being happy, waking up every day with a smile on your face, jumping out of bed, getting ready for the day, and yeah, just feeling a lot more comfortable on the bike and believing in myself to be at the front a lot more.
Well, it's great seeing you up at the sharp end. Best of luck, Mitch. Okay, good luck to all the guys. It's time for MXGP Race 2.
Top 5 as we line up for MXGP Race 2 look like this. Tim Geiser now 118 points clear. He was only 122 clear of Jeremy Seewer before race 1, so it's been reduced ever so slightly. Seewer still there in second, Prado now 24 behind the Swiss, and then we've got Maxim Renault and Glenn Koldenoff. Those two switching positions after Renault's win in race 1, so 4 points behind now, Glenn Koldenoff behind his teammate. Calendar, we're almost there. We've got 3 in a row, Sweden, Finland and Saint-Jean-d'Angely. It would be nice to go back to Irving next weekend in Finland. Saint-Jean-d'Angely, a bit of a trek for the boys to get there from Finland across to Sweden, then into Denmark, and then right the way through Europe to the south of France. No easy task, but I'm sure where there's a will, there is a way. But so far, it's been a fantastic Grand Prix here in Sweden this weekend. Just looking, that was Calvin just lining up there, wasn't it? I think that was his handlebars and goggles. But anyway, Mitch Evans on pole, Tim Geiser, this is from the qualifying race. Jason Thomas, back with you again. Impressive performance from the Yamahas in race 1. As I said, I tried to get my words out. Ireland, the MXGP of Ireland in Kalinchi, June 21st, 1992. Donny Schmidt, Bob Moore, Alex Puzar. 3 riders from the same team when it was Rinaldi's Yamaha team back then, of course. That, to my recollection, is the last time we had 3 riders from the same team in the Premier Class in the top 3 positions 30 years ago.
Yeah, that's on the back end of a pretty miserable Saturday for them. So, you know, we got some insight from Louis Vosters there, so they made some bike changes, which obviously worked, but they really didn't have to do anything crazy. They got the start and were just kind of rode together the entire time. Didn't really have a challenge from Geiser for the most part, and I'm sure they're hoping to replicate that here in race 2.
Glenn Koldenoff, who was victorious here in 2019, the last time we were here, finished 3rd in race 1, just behind his 2 teammates, Maxim Renault and Jeremy Seewer. Is there going to be a good start and a perfect end to his Grand Prix here this weekend? Well, Maxim Renault will surely have something to say about that, having picked up his 16th career victory in race 1. Can he do the same in race 2? Looking down the middle of the grid there, the Mattia Guadagnini 101. Prepares himself. Jeremy Seewer, who was fastest in time practice, got a whole shot in the qualifying race, coming home 2nd in race 1. He will also be eyeing a podium. And Tim Geiser, 4th in race 1. Can he turn the tables on the boys in blue and come away with the overall victory here today? Doesn't have to win it, but it will be 1 step closer to claiming that 5th World Championship, whatever happens.
Yeah, I think for the most part, he's just trying to get through these weekends without incident. And of course, he wants to win. That's what we're all here for. But I don't think he's going to take too much risk if he has to do that.
As our camera departs over there to the left-hand side of the grid, top corner of your screen, we'll be getting a green flag down there any moment now. Our FIM race director signals for the Fly Racing 15-second board to go up for the final time today. MXGP race 2, 30 minutes plus 2 laps. Mitch Evans in the inside gate, alongside him Calvin Verlandren, and then Tim Geiser. And then is that Renault to the inside gate, gate number 4, and then Seawer alongside him. 5-second board turns. Seawer late to get behind the gate, but it hasn't affected his get out of the gate prowess, because he's going to cross the foxhole shot line ahead of everybody else. And Jeremy Seawer with his 3rd black plate of the season.
Yeah, a lot of the main contenders out front. Mitch Evans off to a much better start this time, up there in 4th. See Roman Febvre in 2nd, so may get a little bit more of a battle this race than we got the first time around. Jeremy
Seawer leading the way then from Roman Febvre as they drop downhill for the first time, and Calvin Verlandren there in 3rd position, Evans 4th, and Geiser in 5th place. Then is that the same thing we have all the ways? Is that Renault just there in? No, it's not, because Renault is there. So Koldenoff then in 5th place, 6th place. Where did Renault crash? That is a question.
Kiss that overall win goodbye with that crash there. That's a really tough blow for Renault.
Well, of course, that's going to dent any 1, 2, 3 on the podium for that team then. But jostling for position. Oh, wow. Geiser has gone past everybody, because he's now up into 2nd position. He's found his way past Evans, Verlandren and Febvre in the space of a handful of corners. Geiser on a charge. Impressive from the Slovenian.
Yeah, and I think they all realize, I'm sure they knew before, but the first lap position is so critically important. You see these guys taking a lot of risk. Wondering and Mitch Evans make contact there, because I think they realize that once the pace sets in, it's really hard to do anything about it.
Yeah,
they're all trying to get to the front early.
That was lucky between Evans and Verlandren. As Evans went around the outside, looked like he tagged the front end of Verlandren. Those two lucky to stay up, but Evans, in the pre-race interview, said he had the same pace as the leaders, and he was coming through traffic. Well, he's already up into 4th place at the end of this first lap. Seawer leads, Geiser 2nd, Febvre, Evans and Koldenoff. They top 5. Just behind them is the number 10 of Calvin Verlandren. So the Gavin van Venrooy rider doing his best to hang on to the rear wheel of Glenn Koldenoff. We'll worry about the podium and everything all after that, but Maxime Renault in 31st position as Evans has a dig down the inside of Roman Febvre, the factory Kawasaki rider, number 3.
A lot of aggressive passes going on. In the background there earlier, saw Prado making a really aggressive move on Brent Van Donnick. Kind of atypical bad start for Prado.
Febvre almost off the bike.
Yeah, these guys are taking a lot more risk than they did in race 1. I don't know if the track's better or worse or what the conditions are. It's like somebody got into catnip before this race 2. They're all really cindy right now, so let's just hope they can all stay on their bikes for now.
Are your eardrums still intact? Sorry.
No, I mean, this has been the tone for race 2. It's not just one guy. We've seen Mitch Evans, we've seen Febvre almost have a get off. I saw Prado go for the kill on Van Donnick, as I was mentioning there before.
Geiser then chasing down Jeremy Seawer. Seawer was 2nd in race 1. He leads race 2. Geiser 4th in race 1. Back end, not once, twice, but 3 times. Oh, and Renault is in. Look at the shirt. So this is what's happened to Maxime Renault on the start and the fall, and he's holding that left side. So Mattia Guadagnini. Oh, straight on, Mattia Guadagnini. Well, the catch fencing did its job, but I'm not sure what happened there. Whether somebody... Oh, there's Maxime Renault. Goes down hard, gets landed on, by bikes and body. Oh, man. That is not good for Maxime Renault. No wonder he is in pain. Wonder if he got tagged on the takeoff there, because he didn't get the lift and maybe spun up on the ramp. Who knows? Just back from injury as well, Maxime Renault, the last couple of rounds.
Yeah, let's hope these guys settle down a little bit. That's a little bit too much chaos for one lap. Those are incidents we didn't even see on the first lap. There was plenty more, and you see Febvre cranking it up here again to try to make a run on Geiser.
Yeah, Roman Febvre. He is a man in a hurry at the moment in this second MXGP race. He's all over the back of the 4-time world champion. He was victorious here in 2015. when he was Yamaha mounted that day, of course.
Well, and Jeremy Seaward out front is probably like, what are you guys talking about? Everything's been pretty calm. Just kind of putting laps in out here. He doesn't have any idea what the drama unfolding behind him.
All three riders here, Jeremy Seaward, Tim Geiser, Roman Fevre, have all won around this Uddevalla circuit in the past. Roman Fevre in 2015, Geiser on a couple of occasions, 15 and 17, Jeremy Seaward in MX2 in 2017. So they all know how to get the job done around here, and they're all doing a good job at the front of the field. In this second race, Geiser a little bit short there, though, on the landing.
Oh, and Seaward doesn't have to do anything crazy here. As we're sitting, he has a 7-point gap for the overall finish, so he doesn't have to win race 2 to get the overall. So we'll see how he approaches this. I'm sure right now all he's thinking was just win race 2, but as it unfolds, if he starts to lose a position or two, that could change.
Where's Glenn Coldenoff? He is in 5th place at the moment, 1.4 seconds behind Mitch Evans. Seaward was the fastest rider on track last time around. Fastest lap of the race, a 1:52.446. Only a couple tenths in it, though, between him and Geiser. They hit the line this time. Another fastest lap for Jeremy Seaward, this time into the 51s. And ditto for the top three, Seaward, Geiser, and Fevre.
I'd like to see what Mitch Evans can do here. You know, he hasn't been up at the front very often this season. He's been battling injuries for the last couple of years. So this is a really good opportunity on a weekend where he's ridden well. And you know he wants to get up there. And what would a race win mean to him at this point of the season?
Fevre almost alongside Tim Geiser there, who had to have a look back and check what was happening behind him. But Fevre, definitely a man on a mission at the moment. That was tight as well as they came out of turn 3 up the run towards the first jump. Gio up to 15th. Obviously, he had his troubles in race 1, didn't he? Fevre just trying to get on the gas nice and early. He's there in 3rd. Evans 4th, only about a 1.5 seconds further back. Good ride for Mitch at the moment, but he's just watching his teammate sort of withstand the barrage, the onslaught that is Roman Fevre behind him at the moment, just throwing everything at the Honda rider.
Interesting here from Fevre because he's taken a lot of risk to try to make a move here, and it's pretty early. So I don't know if he just feels like he has a lot of pace left that he's not able to utilize, and if he got out front, he could pull away or what's going on. But he's taken a lot of chances to try to get around Geiser when we're, you know, only 7 minutes in.
So here's Guadagnini, who went climbing the fence in the first turn. He was lucky with that as well. Obviously, into the banner, the fencing did its job there. It wasn't an air fence, but picking himself up. He's in 30th position at the moment, so still circulating. Like anything, things like that look so much worse than they are, but good to see him out there. Oh, this is it again. Look, middle of the grid, 101. Mattia Guadagnini just gets the edge here with Jonas Orbogas, and then he gets tagged there just as he was turning right. He hit that with some force. Fortunately, there was some give in the fence, obviously cushioned the blow. But anyway, he gets away with that one, does Mattia Guadagnini. And Fevre still taking the challenge to Geiser. Seaward still leads the way, though. Confirmed with the foxhole shot. Roman Fevre just catching an edge there on the way into the rut. In fact, it was probably the wrong side of the rut going in there, caught stone. But that's the difference when you stand up in those moments, isn't it? Because you stand up, you lose the front, you've got a little bit more leverage to deal with the situation. When you sat down, you end up fighting the bike a little bit more.
Yeah, and this track is really difficult to ride right now. Traction's not too bad, but the lines are just really tough. You see that outside there at the bottom of the screen there, it runs into a wall. There's just not a very easy way to circulate this track right now.
Glenn Coldenoff last time around, well, in fact, everybody here, apart from Seaward and Fevre last time around, putting in their fastest laps of the race. But Glenn Coldenoff under attack from Calvin Verlandren. Likewise for Geiser, and this is actually doing Jeremy Seaward a favour at the head of the field, because as long as Geiser, who I know they played it down at HRC, but that qualifying crash, or the crash in time practice on Saturday, where he said before race 1, just some problems with his fingers and his toes after the crash, but thankfully okay to race. Tim Geiser is obviously okay to race. He's obviously got good pace. It's just probably nothing more than we're used to dealing with, the odd knocks here and there as racers, but he's having to deal with Romain Febvre, and that is playing perfectly into the hands of Jeremy Seewer. Seewer won't mind too much about that, will he?
Well, and I think, to your point, I think it takes a little bit of the edge off of Geiser. You know, it's just not quite as sharp. You come into a weekend, you've had a weekend off, you want to win, you didn't have a particularly great Lommel, and you come in and you have a huge crash on Saturday. I think it changes the entire tone of the weekend, where it's like, okay, I just need to make sure I win this World Championship. I don't really care as much about winning the race, and you've got Romain Febvre, who is riding rapidly behind him. So to your point, yeah, it does help Seewer, because I think he would much rather deal with a calm Tim Geiser than the way that Febvre is charging from behind.
And again, 2 laps in a row, Romain Febvre in that same right-hander, losing the front end and having to have a dab with the right leg. Seewer, all on his own. Valentin Guillot has lost 14 because Tom Cock, Jordi Tixier, Ivo Monticelli and Ben Watson have all gone past the IXS Hostetler Yamaha rider. But Tim Geiser just managing the situation at the moment, and he's good at doing that, Tim Geiser. He knows when to push, when not to push. He's got the ability, the whole package as well, just to be able to maintain that track position and make someone like Romain Febvre work overtime to try and find his way by without putting himself under any pressure.
Yeah, well, he's, you know, the impetus is all on everyone else. He has this massive points lead. All he has to do is just stay healthy, continue to get through the weekend, stay around the podium. And as it sits right now, he would be second on the weekend, which is great. It's a great result when you don't have any pressure to really perform for the rest of the season. So I think coming off of yesterday, if you had told him when he was picking his motorcycle up, hey, you'll be second overall tomorrow, he would have happily taken that.
As it stands right now, Jeremy Seewer will win the overall Grand Prix with a second and a race win. He obviously leads this second race at the moment. Tim Geiser, a fourth and a second, would put him 7 points down in that second place on 40, and then Glenn Koldenoff would be third overall on 36, but he can't afford to relax because Romain Febvre is just 1 point away from the podium, and of course Febvre pushing hard to find his way past Tim Geiser. If the Kawasaki moves past the Honda rider, of course that's him on the podium at the expense of Koldenoff here, 259. So if he can, Glenn Koldenoff, he needs to get a lick on and find his way onto the rear wheel of Mitch Evans, but easier said than done because Evans is on the third wheel of this train here that's led out by Geiser.
Well, and you wonder if Roman's worked that out yet. At some point, I would guess that the Kawasaki team will relay that to Febvre, that he needs to make a pass for the podium. Right now, he's just doing it because he wants to get to the front. But at some point, that will change. Like, hey, if you're not going to do this, the podium's on the line here.
I was talking to a friend of mine in the paddock earlier today, and he said, how do people treat the qualifying race, let's say? He said, because it seemed that in the MX2 qualifying race, the first 10 minutes, everyone was fine, but then they got quicker and quicker as the session went on. This MXGP race looks like it's exactly the same. Everyone's just kind of pacing themselves at the moment. They don't want to make any rash challenges, take too many risks. Not saying the pace will get quicker, but their intensity will probably start to build in the later stages of the race. Of course, the track wears down, so the lap time gets slower, but for the track conditions, their pace goes up another level.
Yeah, and I think this track it's a little bit, it discourages intensity. So I think early stages of the race, they don't really want to take a lot of chances. There's not enough traction. It can really catch you out very quickly. So until it gets late and the urgency sets in, I think that forces the pace, where some other tracks, if there's a lot of traction, they would be going for it very early on.
Two things have happened here. Either Tim Geiser has turned it on and Romain Febvre is getting tired, or Mitch Evans is getting faster and faster. When you look at the screen, he's got a purple sector that time around, 150.8, and Mitch Evans is getting his claws into the Kawasaki rider as he looks after third place here. Said he wanted to win the race at the start on the pre-grid. He may still be able to as well.
I believe you chuckled at that.
Lisa chuckled at that. We looked at each other and went, wow, he wants to win the race. Yeah. Well, that's what he's there for, he's a racer.
Yeah, why not? I mean, honestly, his ride yesterday, he looked really comfortable at the front. It didn't seem like it was out of character for him to be leading that race around. So I'm sure he's just trying to put himself in that same mindset. It's like, why shouldn't I be running around with these guys?
In fact, my exact words were when he said, yeah, I'm here to win the second race. Lisa went, oh, win the second race. I went, good lad. Because I thought, yeah, fair play, you know what I mean? He has the confidence to back up his qualifying race from yesterday.
Yeah, I mean, if you personally don't believe you can do something, well, I can guarantee you that you won't do it. So he's taking the first step, which is believing in himself.
Yeah, and he doesn't want to go stacking shelves just yet. Because that would be the alternative if you're, But anyway, he's there, latching onto the rear wheel of Romain Febvre, who looks over his shoulder, wants to know what is lurking behind him in the rearview mirror. Good solid weekend for him. Been at the top of the chart, you know, on all the timing sheets in the free practice, the time practice. Won the qualifying race, which was also his first ever win in a World Championship event. Charge through the field in race one.
Yeah, I mean, it's a deceiving result, right? If you just flashed and you looked at it, you wouldn't think much, but it was a much better ride than that would indicate.
Well, when you look at the lap chart, he was 31st when he picked himself up, 27th at the end of the first lap. By lap 7 or lap 8, he was already up to 13th place, so he'd already passed 13, 14 riders at that point. On a track that everybody says is difficult to find a way by, he made it look very easy.
Yeah, see Prado just working behind these two. It's been a really quiet weekend. You know, we talk about how great of a weekend it's been for Mitch Evans. It's been the opposite of that for Jorge Prado. Haven't talked about him a lot. He hasn't gotten good starts. He really hasn't been in the top 5 out of 3 starts, which is way out of character for him. So not sure if he's still feeling the ill effects that he was coming off of Lommel, or just not agreeing with the track too much, but not horrible, just quiet.
There is the number 61 Red Bull Gas rider, the third rider, second rider in shot now. The Spaniard, 2-time world champion. The last time we were here, of course, he was crowned world champion for a second time in the MX2 category. But he's 7th place at the moment, just latching on to Calvin Verlaine, similar lap times. We have seen him put in late charges, though. So I wonder if he can do the same here in the late stages of race 2. A couple of passes will get him sort of close to Romain Febvre in the overall, but not going to challenge the podium here today. Calvin Verlaine, not sure what the problem was in race 1. Maybe he just had that because he was 15th, 16th place before he fell or had that problem with the bike half distance. So I wonder if we had those issues during the race, which meant he wasn't able to charge forward, and here he is on, you know, something more like it should be. This is why we're seeing him in that 6th place and pushing on.
Yeah, and regardless of, you know, the race 1 issues or whatever, this has really been a breakout year. You go back, of course, Sardinia was unbelievable, but last week, or excuse me, 2 weeks ago, I thought he really solidified that, backed that up, and you see here totally different conditions on a track that he wouldn't really, he's done well here in the past in MX2, but to be able to run up here in multiple conditions in the MXGP class is really taking that next step and could get him onto that factory level ride that he's looking for.
Romain Febvre finds his way past Tim Geiser. He's on the podium at the expense of Glenn Koldenoff. Likewise, if Verlaine finds his way past the Hoff, it pushes the 259 off the podium, and that is a perfect reward for Romain Febvre. So 2 battles going on here, the battle for 2nd and 3rd, and this one for 5th and 6th that determines the outcome of the podium. And all of a sudden, Glenn Koldenoff responding with the fastest sector 1 of the race, 27.3, the only one in the 27s, and that's a second quicker than anybody else apart from Tim Geiser.
Yeah, you know, so much about this racetrack is the harder you try, sometimes the worse it gets. If you just kind of let things unfold and let the bike work, you go faster. And it's really, really difficult when the traction is this poor. And it's not so bad, but to put in perfect laps and repeat sector after sector in the same time. So you see this yo-yo, guys have good sector, good lap, bad lap, because it's so easy to make a mistake here.
And then he just makes a mistake there, undoes all the hard work, because he was just starting to put some distance between himself and Verlaine, and that one little bobble in the corner there has allowed the South African to get back on terms, and then he makes a mistake. And all of a sudden, Tim Geiser closing in on Seawell, less than a second between them now as they near the end of this 10th lap. That is the gap, 1.2 now between Jeremy Seawell and Tim Geiser. Febvre, nervous look over the shoulder from the Frenchman as Evans closes in once more. That is so much like a speedway turn, downhill speedway turn. So hard and slick, riders on the gas, having to feather the throttle through there. Can't punch your way through there, Jason. Well,
and they come in there with a ton of speed, and it's a 2-wheel drift. Both tires are sliding across the hard pack there all the way to the berm. And, you know, for people who haven't ever ridden at this level before, I think, you know, these guys probably feel in control, but if you just put someone else onto their bike, they would probably feel like it's pure chaos. And that's just what elite level MXGP riding is.
Jeremy Seawell a moment ago. Nice air time there. In control at the moment is the Smurf. But Geiser closing in and is bringing Fevre with him. Fastest Sector 3 time now for Fevre. That time around by 3/4 of a second over both the riders he's chasing down. Hasn't been on the podium yet since he returned to action, Romain Fevre. And that was in Germany. Been 4th on 2 occasions. Indonesia 4th overall. Belgium 4th overall. But so good to see him when he did come back in Germany. And you were there as well, Jason. 5th overall that day. And for him to do what he did that day was like, wow, okay. Been off 6 months. He's still building on that. Yeah, that was surprising. I didn't expect him to be that good late in the race and just have that composure.
So, you know, he hurt himself in November. It was a really tough injury. I think he had to have multiple surgeries on it before he could come back. So it's been a building process from there. And this would be a great way, 3 years removed from another leg injury at this specific racetrack, to land on the podium.
So just under 9.5 minutes plus 2 laps to go here. MXGP Race 2, we're in Sweden at Uddevalla in the southwest of the country, about an hour or so from Gothenburg. And Jeremy Seewer continues to lead. He's only got about a second and a half over Tim Geiser. This is Seewer now on the Monster Energy Yamaha, the Team HRC rider there in second. And then you've got Kawasaki Racing Team's Romain Fevre in third. The 3 riders separated by less than 2.5 seconds as they hit the line last time around. We're on lap 12. Race 1 was an 18-lapper. So with the pace that they're pushing at the moment, expect it to be a similar race distance. But Mitch Evans closing in all of a sudden as he lights up the back end through turn 6, then doesn't get the drive. But he looks interested, doesn't he, Mitch Evans?
And you start to feel it ramping a little bit, right? And with a couple laps to go, you might reach crescendo here, but the guys can start to feel the time getting shorter, and they have to start closing the gap down because, as we've seen on this racetrack, it's difficult to pass. You can't wait till the last minute and just show up and expect to make a move. You almost have to set something up and give yourself a little bit of time right on their rear wheel to get around.
Race 1 today, fastest lap 1:52.1 by Jeremy Seewer. Mitch Evans has already set the fastest lap this time around, a 1:50.8 in this race. So whatever they did to the racetrack in between motos, yes, I know they fluffed up, took out some of the bumps, tidied up pit lane. The racetrack is faster than it was in race 1 by a considerable margin, a couple seconds. That's a lot.
Yeah, it is. And it was just, you know, some of the corners, they took some of the ruts out, and that was before MX2, race 2. But, yeah, considerably faster. And as a former racer, you know as well as I do that they're thankful for that. It makes life a little bit easier in some of the corners.
But then the intensity is up as well because you're pushing more. You know, 2 seconds in a lap is quite intense.
Yeah, it's a lot. And, yeah, overalls are on the line, and everybody's bunched up here where in the first race, all the Yamahas, they never really battled, right? It seemed like, and they got into the 155s around halfway. So you think about at this point of the race, in race 1, they were doing 155s, which is, 4 full seconds quicker this moto than the first.
Jeremy Seewer enjoying the lead in race 2. He's also got a 7-point advantage over Tim Geiser, who does not need, Jeremy Seewer does not need to win the race to win the overall Grand Prix. And he's looking like he's having fun. This is more like the relaxed Jeremy Seewer, we expected to see in the qualifying race yesterday after setting the fastest in time practice.
Yeah, he's been, I don't want to say mistake-free because that would probably be overstating it, but pretty smooth. He doesn't look like he's under duress. It'll be interesting to see with, 6 minutes plus 2 laps to go if Tim can close that gap down and maybe force a mistake.
He actually does look in control. He has a tendency just to get a little bit loose, doesn't he? But that's his riding style. He's always looking like he's fighting the bike. But actually, at the moment, Jeremy Seewer looking in control. Yeah, I think he's pretty comfortable right now. And you see Tim closing it up a little bit. So he really needs to get Jeremy out of that comfort zone. And Jeremy's comfortable riding uncomfortable, if that makes sense. But if you're going to hope to make a pass, you need that extra edge of maybe Jeremy making the mistake. Just looking at Evans and Koldenhoff as they went through those couple of corners, 4th and 5th, all of a sudden Evans just losing the toe for the top 3 riders. Koldenhoff put his fastest lap in last time at 51.2 compared to a 53.02 of Evans. So are we about to see in the next couple of laps Koldenhoff advance and find his way into 4th with a move on Evans, yes or no? Only 6 minutes plus 2 laps remain. Sure, we'll have an answer soon enough as Jorge Prado closing in on Calvin Valandren. mentioned earlier, it's been a quiet day for the Spaniard, number 61, but finally, in the later stages, he is finding something within himself to put in a late charge as he goes after Verlanderen in 6th and maybe even Koldenhoff for 5th place. Who knows?
Well, you know what's better than a four-way battle for the lead, Paul?
I know what's what?
What's better than a four-way battle for the lead? Five-way battle for the lead would be a little bit better. But honestly, I just want to see these guys.
If you're the leader, a no-way battle.
Right. But up to this point, they've been pretty mellow, right? We saw the flurry of activity at the beginning. It seemed like everybody kind of settled into a pace, and you can see them in the background there. Nobody's really applying any pressure yet. And it's almost like, okay, when is someone going to go? When is someone going to drop into a low 150 and really send off the signal that it's time to go? Because I think they're all kind of in a waiting mode right now.
Yeah, and as Prado looks to close in on Verlanderen here, just looking down the leaderboard. Guillaume now up into 13th place. He was up there and went down to 19th. He's now back into 13th. So again, Guillaume showing good speed, good pace, but just not getting the start and having the break on this in this second MXGP race. And if you're joining us for the first time, wondering where is Maxime Renault, he fell on the first lap, just coming out of turn 3 on the first jump. He looks like he either spun up, lost the front end, didn't get the distance. Then he was just the other side of the takeoff, and obviously on the first lap when he was well placed, top 3 or 5, bike got landed on, he got landed on, just lasted a lap and would not finish the race, the winner from race 1. So tough blow for Maxime Renault. 4 minutes to go and 1.6 seconds now between Siwa and Geiser. Fevre about another 1.2 further back. Nothing in it though between Evans and Koldenhoff, or is there? Yeah, about just over a second. So Evans managing that gap quite well. Ruben Fernandez now down in 13th, so Valentin Guillaume on a charge. As Jorge Prado gets his teeth into the Yamaha of Calvin Verlanderen ahead of him. Can he sneak up the inside? Yes or no? No, he can't. But he tries to get alongside him out of turn 2 into turn 3. He's going to go the long way round. We've seen it work on several occasions, but not this time around for the number 61.
These guys battled quite a bit on MX2, so they're no strangers to each other, but I think Prado is really antsy to make a move here.
These two fighting over 6th position at the moment. Is it a point in the race? You know, obviously the pace is very, very similar. Looking down on the leaderboard, the first 8 riders all in the 52s, apart from Evans that time around in the 51s. Just to make anything happen, how much of a risk are we having to take? This is what happened a lap ago as Prado dives down the inside of Verlanderen, takes over 6th place. And this was Valentin Guillaume on Ruben Fernandez a lap ago. This put him up into 12th place. Same corner, end of the waves. Fernandez just to the outside. Guillaume, when leave the door open, you'll get punished. The 92 goes right by and into 12th. Looking very comfortable on the racetrack, I have to say.
Yeah, and I think the key here, you know, to your question is, when will these guys drop that pace and take the risk? When we start to see the green sectors all pop up from a bunch of these guys in a row, that's going to be the cue. Because right now, I don't want to say they're waiting. You know, we're down to 2 minutes plus 2 laps, but I just haven't seen urgency. They're still, you know, kind of putting in the same sectors, same times. They have to have a little splurge of energy. You see, they're not really close up to each other yet. It only takes one of them, and one of them, when they sense it, they're going to go. You see Mitch Evans has dropped off the back a little bit there, so maybe he's kind of running out of steam. But I still think we're going to get a little bit of a run here. The
only rider showing any kind of intensity right now is Jorge Prado, who's obviously found his way past Verlanderen. Last time round set his fastest lap of the race, 1:51.4. That's a full second quicker than Koldenhoff ahead of him, who's less than 2 seconds further up the track. Similar margin to Evans and Fevre as well. So 52 2s and 3s for the first 5 or 6 riders, apart from Prado.
I think we may be watching it from Fevre here. Just the way he's flat landing everything and really pushing in areas where it's not really the ideal place to put in a lot of effort. I think he may be trying to make a run here.
Waved yellows for this next turn. Got a rider down. Riders will be mindful of that. Not sure where the incident was there though. Must have been on the on this part. Yeah, you see the rider now just picking himself up and getting rejoined into the race. But that's your first 3. Siwa, Geiser and Fevre. Geiser, and actually that's a good illustration. You don't see those ruts apart from the top there. is there now going to be a big push? Because, you know what, we're going to get 3 laps to go. It's not going to take 33 seconds to get from that corner to the finish line. And I think we're going to have 3 big laps now from the top 3. Which one will go first, though, as Glenn Coldenoff now coming under attack from Jorge Prado. We said he was the rider that was showing the most intent with that 1:51 lap time, a second quicker than everybody else around him. Coldenoff can't afford to switch off here, because if he does and Prado goes through, Coldenoff is off the podium. Fevre is on the podium without even having to find his way past Geiser.
Seawer puts in one of his worst laps in a while, a 1:53, so that may allow both Geiser and Fevre to close that gap down.
Body language from Jorge Prado, hinting as he came past pit lane with that right arm right the way down by his knee that he wants to find his way past Glenn Coldenoff. He's got 3 laps to do it. His lap time last time around, 1:52.1. Coldenoff at 52.8, so considerably quicker than the Dutchman that time around. The track at its worst now because of the action that we've had. We had 125, 250 European action. We've had an MX2 and an MXGP race earlier on in the day. MX2 was not too long before this one, so you can see how the lines have really sort of got chewed up. But unlike yesterday, we still have moisture in the ground, and that is making a big difference in terms of grip and in the way that the riders are prepared to push, just as we're seeing from Jorge Prado.
Yeah, it just allows them to be much more aggressive. If they tried to attack the track in some of these corners yesterday, or the way they are today, they would end up on the ground really quickly.
So 2 and a bit laps to go then. Nothing in it still between Seawer and Geiser. In fact, Geiser is closing in. It was 9/10 at the last split. What will it be this time? He's got a nice wide line through there, hasn't he? Stays out of trouble. 1.1 though, the gap. Jeremy Seawer doing a great job managing this situation. He has been in front, hasn't he, pretty much the entire 16 laps that we've had so far.
Yeah, really the same story as race 1, right? You get the start, put in a couple clean laps, and then it's wait till the end to try to do something about it. So I don't know how much Geiser's really willing to risk here. I don't think it's gonna. Yeah, it won't change anything for his overall, other than just you know, reversing some of the points he lost to Seawer in the championship. It'll be interesting to see how much he's willing to risk to get a race win.
Mitch Evans there in 4th, still circulating there ahead of Glenn Coldenoff. Team HRC rider showing his best form in these last few races of the season. Can he hang on to that 4th place though? It'll be 6th overall for him, which will equal his best of the season so far. That was Indonesia, where he was 6th overall. He was 7th either side of that in Germany and Czech Republic. Tim Geiser will be 2nd overall, but crucially for him, I mean, doesn't lose hardly any points in the championship chase. What was it, 118 coming into this one? He's going to lose 3 points, so it's going to be 115. Heading into Finland. Be 150 points left on the table. So will he be crowned champion in Finland in a week's time? Race 2. Sure if he's thinking about that at the moment, just knows that he's in this battle, needs to stay out of trouble. Robin Fevre, how frustrated is he though, not able to get close enough to make the pass on Geiser? What about Tim Geiser? Is he frustrated as well that he's not been able to do more with Jeremy Seawer, or is it that Jeremy Seawer today, you know, bike setup changes that they made have obviously paid dividends?
And I think if you're Fevre, you just have to be content with making progress. He's getting better each and every weekend. I mean, he's, you know, 4 seconds off the lead at the moment, and that's a considerable jump. Like, you know, the last time I was here was in Germany, and that was June, and to see the progress in his riding, the fitness, the intensity, you can see him willing to take a lot of chances again and get away with it. So everything seems to be on track with him, but yeah, I'm sure he'll be a little bit frustrated that he's not going to end up on the podium.
Jeremy Seawer landing a little bit too close to the markers there a moment ago, but Koldenhoff all over the back of Evans. And you can see as they drop down in that bottom corner, Prado on the back of the rider in blue, Koldenhoff, who is going after Evans here. This will be for 4th place. This will cement his podium. Glenn Koldenhoff, 3rd overall, because obviously if he gets caught by Prado, he's off the podium. Febvre is on. If he can find his way past Mitch Evans here on the final lap, then of course the rest is irrelevant. But Mitch Evans has done a fantastic job. He put in a hard charge in race 1 to get through from last to 10th. Did he just burn himself out in the process? He's hung inside the top 4 the entire race here. Wasn't able to go the second half of the race, but he's managed the job perfectly well. But on the last lap now, coming under attack from Glenn Koldenhoff. Will he be pipped at the finish?
It'll be really tough to make a move here. There's just not a lot of passing opportunity the rest of these final 2 corners. So as long as Mitch doesn't make a mistake on his own, he lost a lot of momentum coming out of that corner. It's going to be tough to make a pass.
Jeremy Seawer downhill for the final time. The Monster Energy Yamaha rider through the final corner. And Jeremy Seawer is going to make it a perfect day here in Sweden as he crosses the line. And Jeremy Seawer, 5th overall in Belgium, 2 wins from the last 3 rounds, because of course he was victorious in Czech Republic. And for Jeremy Seawer, 46 podiums now, his 10th Grand Prix victory. He does it with his 15th race win as well. And Jeremy Seawer on the top step here once again for the 2nd time in his career, 2017 in MX2 and now here in MXGP. Geiss across the line 2nd, Febvre 3rd, Evans 4th, Koldenhoff, Prado, Verlanderen, Bogas, Van Donnik and Ferrato. And the podium, Jeremy Seawer, Tim Geiss and Glenn Koldenhoff. So Jason Thomas, just before you disappear, I know you've got a plane to catch. What have you made of the MXGP Grand Prix this weekend, just in the Premier class?
Well, you know, Seawer is back to winning form. Really impressive by him. And you just wonder how much Geiser is really there right now. It's really difficult, I think, to put yourself on the limit when you have this gigantic points lead and you see the World Championship there. So he's doing everything he needs to do. But you see Febvre coming back to form, too. And it's been a long time since the end of last season where he was battling for a championship. But Mitch Evans back on the scene. He hasn't been around. So it's nice to see multiple, you know, opportunities for different guys to win.
All right, well, look, Jason Thomas, Fly Racing, thanks for your input and your knowledge here this weekend. We'll see you at the Motocross of Nations Redbud end of September. Have a safe trip back, mate, and we'll see you soon.
Thanks for the opportunity.
Right, let's catch up with Lisa. Here she is with Jeremy Seawer.
Jeremy Seawer from a difficult qualifying yesterday to another GP victory with a race win. Fantastic job holding on to that lead with Geiser behind you.
Yeah, I mean, I struggled a little yesterday. Of course, on Saturdays, I never put my full effort. I mean, the races today, I knew the start. The gate pick is not that important. First moto, not the best start, but still had a good pace, and I knew I can win this, you know. And then whole shot second moto, dream race, another GP win. That's 3 this year. Feels amazing, you know. Yeah, big step again, you know, and now still some racing to come, and I feel in good shape.
Fantastic day for you. Thank you.
Jeremy Seawer on the top step of the podium for the 3rd time this year, and for the 10th time in his career on the top step. The Monster Energy Yamaha rider got off to a decent start, maybe not the best, he said, but either way, he turned it into his 15th career race win and his 2nd Grand Prix victory around this Uddevalla circuit here in Sweden. Jeremy Seawer, your winner of the Swedish Grand Prix. Give you official confirmation then, MXGP Race 2, here's the result. Jeremy Seawer wins it just over, well, under 2 seconds over Tim Geiss. Roman Febvre 3rd, Mitch Evans 4th. Glenn Koldenhoff couldn't find a way past, 2/10 in it as those two hit the line. That's how close that was. Prado, Verlanderen, Bogas, Van Donnik and Ferrato. And then we had Jeremy Van Horebeke, Valentin Guillot, Ruben Fernandez, Ben Watson, Tom Cock, Pauls Jonas, Jordi Tixier, Jed Beaton, Ivo Monticelli and Alvin Osland on the JK Racing Yamaha. For the 3rd time this year, Jeremy Seawer stands on the top step of the podium. And the second time here in Sweden, Tim Geiser, second overall, third for Glenn Coldenhoff, with Roman Fevre and Jorge Prado rounding out the top 5. In terms of the championship, Tim Geiser arrived here 122 points clear of Jeremy Seewer. That gap now down to 115, but surely now it's just a matter of time for Tim Geiser and world title number 5. But for Jeremy Seewer, he will enjoy the victory and the spoils of victory here from Sweden this weekend. No change in the top 8 riders. Mitch Evans now inside the top 10. Good day for Mitch. No change in the Manufacturers' Championship. Yamaha still have a slender margin over Honda, and it really is down to those two now in the final 3 rounds. Take a look at the foxhole shot then, shall we? Right at the start of the race, Jeremy Seewer with his third foxhole shot of the campaign. Jorge Prado, though, has won that because 15 for him. We've only got 6 races left. He cannot be caught. Tim Geiser on 4, Henrik Kobe 3, alongside Jeremy Seewer, but Seewer getting the nod because of him picking up the last one, the latest one, if you like. See the modest gathering down there in front of the podium area, the skybox area, as we prepare for the podium here. MXGP of Sweden, round 15. Third overall, Glenn Coldenhoff, Monster Energy Yamaha Factory Racing. His 5th podium of the season, and he does it with a 3rd and a 5th. Tim Geiser, Team HRC. Just 4 times he's missed the podium this year, but he's back on it. 2nd overall with a 4th and a 2nd here. But for the 3rd time in 2022, Jeremy Seewer on the top step of the podium. The Monster Energy Yamaha rider climbs the top step of the podium. And it was an impressive performance, a start to finish win for the number 91. Team owner Louis Vostas will take to the podium as well. Wonder who we have as dignitaries handing out the trophies. Well, Krista Hammargren, the former World Championship rider, very popular in these parts, hanging out the 3rd place trophy to Glenn Coldenhoff. Tim Geiser takes his trophy from none other than Torsten Hallman, a 4-time world champion. And you may recognize the name Torsten Hallman, original racewear, the Thor Racing Clothing Apparel originator. But Håkan Andersson, also a former world champion, the 1973 world champion, and the first for Yamaha, and very much a part of this club here in Uddevalla, lives not too far away here. Great to see Håkan Andersson here as well, and he was down there with the Yamaha team earlier on this year. He got a bit of a tour and met the likes of Louis Vostas and Glenn Coldenhoff and Maxim Renault. Håkan Lehmann, the FIM board member, handing the team trophy to Louis Vostas. And what's been another great day for him and his team. 1st and 3rd here today. Championship leader's red plate, though, still belongs in the hands of Tim Geiser, the Team HRC rider. 122 points at the start of the day, down to 115, but he still has a very considerable margin over Jeremy Seewer. I think somebody's ran off with the red plate. We'll go find it in a minute, or if we can just get your one off the front of your bike, Tim. How's that? No, we've found it. Tim Geiser continues to lead the championship. He's held it for every single round, so I don't think there was any concern that he wasn't going to get it on the podium. But there's your top three. Jeremy Seewer, Tim Geiser, Glenn Koldenoff. That's how it finishes here, the MXGP of Sweden, round 15. Podium here this weekend, round 15, the MXGP of Sweden at Uddevalla. Monster Energy Yamaha of Jeremy Seewer on the top step with a second and a first, followed by Tim Geiser, who picks up a fourth and a second for second overall, and Glenn Koldenoff with a third and a sixth place finish for him. But that third and a fifth place. We'll talk to the top three, just the other side of these highlights. MXGP race 2 here in Sweden, Uddevalla, and it was Jeremy Seewer who crossed the foxhole shot line for the third time this season, closely followed by Calvin Verlanderen, Roman Fevre, Tim Geiser, Mitch Evans were in there as well. Didn't take long for Geiser, though, to move from 5th to 2nd. He was there before the end of the lap. First found his way past his teammate here, but watch on the face the jump here. Oh, that was the problem there. He got tagged, and he gets run over there by Ben Watson. Does Maxime Renault. Meanwhile, Tim Geiser sliding his way through the field, gets himself into second position, and goes after Jeremy Seewer. Roman Fevre there in third, Mitch Evans in fourth place. Valentin Guillot late on in the race made this move on the number 70 of Ruben Fernandez to take over 12th, and around about the same time, Jorge Prado found his way past the number 10 of Calvin Verlanderen to move into 6th. That's where he would finish. Wasn't able to close in on Glenn Koldenoff. At the front, though, it was Jeremy Seewer, who had a 2-second advantage over Geiser to win the race and the overall.
Jeremy Seewer, third GP victory for you, particularly in that second race. Good start. You look comfortable, consistent. It looked like you were enjoying it out there.
I did. You know, it's a sketchy, tricky track. Lots of square edge bumps and slippery lines, and not easy to go fast on. But yeah, I felt great. Good start. That's key on that track. Nailed this one, and then, you know, could ride my own lines, my own race. I tried to find out where the guys behind me catched me, where I was better, and just figured out some good lines. But yeah, amazing. Another GP win. 3 so far this year. You know, I'm gonna keep pushing and some racing to go.
Okay. Thank you. Second overall today, we have Tim Geiser. Tim, despite not feeling 100% today, 2 well-managed races for you. Good day for your championship. Just tell us, how was it for you?
Yeah, it was good. You know, I have to be happy. Starts were not there today. It was crucial to have a good start because it was difficult to pass out there. But anyway, yeah, happy with the riding. So yeah, really looking forward to next week.
Thanks, Tim. Third overall today, we have Glenn Koldenoff. Glenn, back-to-back podiums for you, a third and a fifth. Despite a tough day yesterday in quali, you turned it around today.
Yeah, we put in some good work with the team, you know. I'm really thankful for that. They put in a big effort, and first moto was really good. Followed my teammates, and you know, today was really difficult to pass. And second moto had a horrible start, and was really pushing hard in the first few laps, and it was quite sketchy, I would say. And in the end of the moto, you know, I really pushed hard to get Evans, because I really thought I would not be on the podium. And also the pit lane straight, you know, was so